All right, so get this. We're going to be looking at how a patch of cool water in the Pacific Ocean can totally mess with India's weather.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, it's wild.
It's called La Niña, and we're going to dive deep into an article from the Hindu to figure out how this all works.
Okay.
It was published December 17th, 2024, and it's titled, How Does La Niña Affect India's Climate? Explained.
I mean, what's really wild is that it can impact everything from how much rain falls during monsoon season.
Yeah.
Even air quality.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking about like a global domino effect here.
Okay, so it's not just like some abstract science-y thing happening far away. This La Niña could actually really impact people in India.
Yeah.
So let's start with the basics. What exactly is La Niña and how does it work its magic?
Okay, so think of the Pacific Ocean like a giant seesaw.
Okay.
And on one side, you've got Indonesia. On the other, you've got South America.
Okay.
Now, during La Niña, that seesaw dips, making the water near Indonesia warmer than usual, and the water off the coast of South America gets a bit chilly.
Okay, so I'm picturing this massive seesaw in the ocean.
Right.
What happens next?
Well, this tilting changes how the air moves above the ocean.
Okay.
It's like someone switched the settings on a giant fan.
Gotcha.
And then these changes in air circulation create a ripple effect impacting weather patterns across the globe.
Got it. So it's all about how the air flows.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's also this thing called El Niño.
Yes.
Is that basically just the opposite of La Niña with the seesaw tilting the other way?
You got it.
Okay.
During El Niño, the water near South America warms up, and it sets off a completely different chain reaction in the atmosphere.
Okay.
Think of it like this. La Niña tends to bring India more rain.
Okay.
But it can cause dry spells in Africa.
Oh, wow.
And crank up hurricane activity in the Atlantic.
Wow.
El Niño, on the other hand, can flip the script, making India drier and parts of the U.S. wetter.
It's amazing how these shifts in a faraway ocean can have such a widespread impact.
Yeah.
Now, the article that we're looking at uses a rather dramatic term to describe the 2024 La Niña. Spooky. Why is that?
Yeah, this year, La Niña has been playing hard to get.
What do you mean?
Well, scientists expected it to show up around July.
Okay.
But even now in December, we're not quite seeing its full effects.
So how do scientists actually determine when La Niña is officially happening?
Right.
Do they have some sort of La Niña alarm bell?
Not exactly a bell, but they do have something called the Oceanic Niño Index.
Okay.
Or ONI for short.
Okay.
It's like a thermometer for the Pacific Ocean.
I like that.
Scientists track the average sea surface temperature in a specific area for 3 months straight and compare it to a 30-year average.
So how much cooler does it have to be to officially declare La Niña?
Yeah.
Is there a magic number?
So think of it like this. If that ocean thermometer reads half a degree cooler than usual for 3 months straight, scientists say, all right, it's officially La Niña time.
Interesting. So in 2024,
the
ocean hasn't consistently hit that La Niña is here temperature yet.
Exactly.
Wow.
And get this, since 1950, La Niña has only formed this late in the year twice.
Really?
It usually shows up during the monsoon season or even before.
Okay.
So you can see why the article calls it spooky.
Okay, so this delayed La Niña is keeping us guessing.
Right.
But even without its official arrival,
Right.
we can see its potential influence on India already. Some folks in southern India have been bundled up in their sweaters, blaming the unusually chilly winter on La Niña.
Right.
But the article hints that it might not be that simple. What's going on there?
You're right. It's not always a straightforward connection. While it's true that some parts of southern India are experiencing a colder winter, remember that ONI hasn't officially dipped into La Niña territory yet. And if it were a full-blown La Niña, we'd likely see colder winters across all of India.
Okay.
Not just in the south.
So blaming the southern chill solely on La Niña might be jumping the gun a bit.
Yeah.
But this does raise a good question. If and when La Niña does kick in, how does it actually affect temperatures across India?
Well, a study by the Council on Energy, Environment, and Water, or CEEW in New Delhi, shed some light on this. They looked at 35 years of weather data and found some interesting patterns.
Like what?
La Niña winters usually mean colder nights in India compared to El Niño winters. But here's the kicker. Daytime temperatures tend to be warmer.
So colder nights, but potentially warmer days.
Yeah.
That's an unexpected twist. It seems like La Niña brings a mixed bag of temperatures to India.
Exactly. And it's not just temperature that gets affected.
Oh, no.
La Niña also influences other factors like wind speed,
Okay.
and something called the planetary boundary layer height, or PBLH.
PBLH. Okay, you're going to have to break that one down for me.
All right, so imagine you're looking at smoke rising from a chimney.
Okay.
The PBLH is that height where the smoke stops going straight up and starts spreading out sideways.
Okay.
It's the lowest part of the atmosphere that's directly influenced by what's happening on the ground.
Okay, I can picture that. So how does La Niña mess with this smoke layer?
Right.
And why should we care?
Well, both wind speed and the PBLH play a big role in air quality.
Okay.
The CEEW study found that average wind speeds are generally higher during La Niña winters.
Okay.
Think of it like La Niña giving India a good airing out. Faster winds help disperse pollutants more efficiently.
So a plus for air quality.
Potentially. But here's where it gets complicated.
Okay.
That same study found that the average PBLH is actually a bit lower during La Niña winter.
Oh, really?
A lower PBLH means that layer where pollutants can spread out is squeezed.
Yeah.
So they might get trapped closer to the ground.
So it's a bit of a trade-off. Higher winds to blow stuff away, but a lower ceiling for those pollutants to get trapped under.
Precisely. It's a complex interplay of factors.
Wow.
And to add another layer,
if
temperatures really plummet during a La Niña winter, people in North India might burn more biomass for heating.
Oh, right.
And that can lead to even more air pollution.
Wow, a real balancing act. La Niña could be doing some good in terms of wind dispersal, but also make pollution worse in other ways.
Yeah.
It really highlights how interconnected everything is. What stands out to you so far about La Niña's influence on India?
I think it's fascinating how unpredictable the consequences can be.
Yeah.
Like, who would have guessed that a cooler Pacific could mean warmer days in some parts of India?
Right.
Or that it could have such a tangled relationship with air quality.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that climate change and weather patterns are full of surprises.
Absolutely. And speaking of surprises, we can't forget about the monsoons.
Right.
India relies so heavily on those rains for agriculture. How does La Niña factor into that equation?
That's where the difference between La Niña and El Niño really comes into play.
Okay.
La Niña is generally good news.
Yeah.
For India's monsoon season,
Okay.
it usually brings normal or above normal rainfall,
Okay.
which is crucial for a good harvest.
So La Niña is like a giant watering can for India's crops.
You could say that.
Okay.
But El Niño often disrupts the monsoons,
Oh.
leading to below average rainfall.
Yeah.
And sometimes even droughts.
So it's La Niña for a bountiful harvest and El Niño for like a nail-biting season.
Right.
Have there been any like recent examples of this monsoon roller coaster?
Absolutely. Remember the triple dip La Niña we talked about?
Yeah.
From 2020 to 2022, India had those good monsoons with normal or above normal rainfall.
Okay.
But then in 2023, when El Niño rolled in, rainfall was below normal.
It's fascinating how these patterns like play out. If this potential 2024-2025 La Niña does strengthen, could it mean a break from the drier conditions India saw in 2023?
It's definitely a possibility.
Okay.
If La Niña persists into the monsoon season, it could bring good rainfall to the region.
Okay. That would be welcome news, especially after like those intense heat waves that India faced during the recent El Niño.
Right.
The article mentioned that El Niño summers tend to be harsher. Does this mean like a La Niña summer might offer some relief from the heat?
While the impact on summer temperatures isn't as clear-cut as with monsoons, it's possible that La Niña could help moderate those extreme temperatures.
So while La Niña seems to have a generally positive impact on India's monsoons, is there a chance that climate change could like throw a wrench in the works and change this pattern in the future?
That's the big question scientists are grappling with. Climate change is making weather patterns more unpredictable and extreme.
Right.
Well, historically, La Niña has been good for the monsoons. We can't assume that this relationship will stay the same as the climate changes.
It makes you wonder, even though La Niña is generally the good guy now, could climate change flip the script?
It's a possibility we need to consider.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to stay informed about these complex climate patterns and how they interact with our planet.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the mechanics of La Niña and its global effects to its specific impact on India. It's amazing how this phenomenon in the Pacific Ocean can influence everything from winter temperatures and monsoon rainfall to air quality in India.
We've seen how La Niña can be both beneficial and challenging, bringing much-needed rainfall, but also the potential for flooding and uneven distribution.
And most importantly, we've learned that understanding these complex climate patterns is crucial for navigating a future shaped by climate change. So, to our listeners, we encourage you to keep asking questions, stay curious, and continue exploring the fascinating world of science and our planet. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.